is demanding that Sammy Gyamfi be held to the same standards as Cecilia Dapa. You think it's a stretch, or do you think it's a fair call?
So let me say a good morning to the good people of Lambuse and to all those who are watching us this morning. I think I want to look at this from a different perspective.
Very well.
But as for those making the call, I would appreciate a call from a different source than from these people. So they may perhaps water down the whole thing if they are the ones calling for that. But the circumstance of the issue, since it's going to be investigated, I want to leave it as such. But if you look at the situation, I think we should pick the lessons from this event. The first thing is that the gentleman has apologized.
Indeed.
He has called this an act of indiscretion. I think we have stated here that he should have exercised some bit of awareness. Whether he was aware that this filming was going on, by knowing that you are around this woman who is all over the place, alone, and with all such people surrounding you, and I think all of that is a summation of what he calls indiscretion. And he has apologized. I want to situate that in the call of the minority and ask, sometimes when things change, we forget so soon. How many times in the past 8 years did we ever get anybody in the previous government coming out publicly to apologize for obviously more grievous offenses? Now, what has happened, without going to the merit of it, if you look at the code of conduct, and I have read this code of conduct over and over, I cannot find where specifically it has been breached. It's not to justify his action. But if you look at the section on gifts, it's 1.5.12, gifts. And I can read aspect of it. To avoid the creation or appearance of an obligation, gifts in cash or kind are not to be solicited or accepted from commercial enterprises or any other organizations. An exception to this rule is the acceptance of a gift presented during an official visit to an institution. Everything about this is about the public officer receiving gifts that would influence his decision or his actions. Maybe what has happened may let us think about, is there a need for a revision of it? What about the public officer doling out gifts? Will you call that an opulent display of wealth, or trying to, I don't know what kind of terms to use, in an economy that we are struggling to recover? He's called for all his appointees. He certainly called all his appointees to exercise a little bit of humility, be aware of the society we find ourselves in. He has advised against lavish celebrations and all of that, while the masses are all struggling to cope up. So if you look at it, it's an issue of a moral or awareness issue, but not a breach of a specific law or code of conduct of office. But for him to even come out when he has not specifically breached anything, to realize that what I have done is an act of indiscretion and apologize, I see strength in that. That apology is not a sign of weakness. You recognizing that you have done something, it may not be unlawful, but I keep saying that not everything that is lawful is right. And not everything that is unlawful is wrong. But you look at the implications of what you have done. Sometimes it sends a certain message, which he has sat down, realized that it's not right.
The optics don't look good.
The optics don't look good. And he's apologized for it. I think I was celebrating for the apology. He didn't wait for people to make the calls. He must come out and apologize and all of that. He quickly recognized it and apologized. I would also recognize that the kind of leadership he's serving under may be pointing to this apology. We know that His Excellency will not countenance anything untoward in his government. He has stressed it to the ministers at every retreat. He reminds them He would not cover up people. He would not be a clearing agent. If you mess up, you face the law. As the standard he's holding the previous appointees to, the same standard he's holding us to. He's aiming to reset this country in terms of our mindset, in terms of our behavior, in terms of our conduct. And therefore, everybody must exercise that level of caution. So I would say that it's unfortunate this happened, but let's look at the good aspect of it. The good aspect is that for the first time, maybe in the past 9 years, we have seen a top official in this country publicly apologizing for something that is not. Have we forgotten so soon all the things that have happened in the past? That you even call for an apology and you have nothing of that. Where things go to the presidency and it is just, what didn't we hear? In less than 3 months of the previous government, there was a cash for seat scandal. What did we hear about it? We heard things publicly. People did lavish parties, did what they shouldn't do. Did anybody have to apologize? What worse crimes were not committed than this, which is not even a crime? So I'm not justifying what he did. I mean, we all admit that there was that act of indiscretion. And I think at this moment, I will celebrate his strength rather than his weaknesses. There's the weakness is that indiscretion. The weakness is doing this publicly, doing this, knowing very well that the people around you, people are filming you and all of that. I think that is a weakness. And even to give out the money that is not in CDs and all of that, I mean, you could have given even more without anyone knowing and to be fine. If it's somebody you want to help, you're a kind person, you naturally want to help people, that's fine. But that is the weakness. But let's look at the strength. The strength is that this gentleman, in humility, has apologized. He's a lawyer. He could have gone on to say, show me where it is wrong in the law. And like I'm saying, I've been reading this code of conduct that was just launched. Other than the spirit of it, to the letter of it, there is no offense in this code of conduct. And I want someone to point one to me that he has breached. There's none. That's a document I just read to you. The section on gift. There's gift that you can receive. The ceiling is 20,000. You can keep that. You have to declare and pay the taxes on it. Or if it's higher, you must revert it to the state. This doesn't fall anywhere in that code of conduct. I hope you get it. And this is not a woman that he has any business to the best of anybody's knowledge with. And there is no evidence that this money is state funds. Unless it's calling for a lifestyle audit of him to find out how much is earning, if he can produce that money. But this is an enterprising young man in his own right before even coming into politics. So we put that aside.
You believe that he has not breached the letter of the conduct? Unless we're looking at the spirit of it.
Yes.
So when the conduct says appointees must manage their personal affairs in a way that withstands the closest public scrutiny.
Yes.
And must comport themselves in a manner befitting the trust and confidence placed in them.
Good.
You think he has not sidestepped this?
So show me which of these that you have read really is an offense that he has committed.
Like what he describes as indiscretion.
Yes.
It says managing personal affairs in a way that withstands the closest public scrutiny.
Good. So this is where the public scrutiny has come in. And he has recognized that, look, what I did, even though it's not a crime, it doesn't inure to good optics for the government, to the person who appointed me, to the people that I'm serving. It doesn't. And that's why he calls it indiscretion. But I'm saying that the offenses listed under which specific punishment will apply, we don't see that here. Now, I see the minorities call, honestly, to be baseless. If people were calling for him to apologize, that would be a different. And this man has already apologized. Well, the presidency is determined to review the whole thing. Let's leave it like my colleague Larry has said. For the president, let's give them the room to think through and take whatever actions necessary.
Does it smack of discretionary financial power? Misuse of influence?
No, I don't think this will fall anywhere close to influence peddling or misuse of influence. Not at all. Discretionary financial power, I mean, other than open display of wealth in a society that other people are struggling, party grassroots people are struggling, and people are struggling that, look, we've all worked, we have not had anything yet, and then of what basis will you even give this to this person when there are poorer people or people needing help? And these are social and moral.
You might want to add this, that Agrada, she has even come out to say that she was very vociferous,
critical
of President Mahama coming.
He was.
You know,
very, very
so
critical.
that is where the pain of the NDC guys are also coming from.
Exactly.
I mean,
so we have all those images and videos online on how critical this woman has been of the government. That's what I'm saying. That so it's like it's the generality of the masses will feel hurt. Like I'm saying, because whatever amount this is, definitely there could have been a better use of it. Do you understand my point? There could be somebody whose bill could have been paid in the hospital. There could be somebody who is jobless and struggling who could have been helped. That is where that indiscretion comes from. But for this singular act, for us to say that is influence, no, because influence peddling, per my understanding of this, is nowhere close to it.
I've heard Agrada say after the incidents that she's NDC.
Well, but you know,
and that's how Sammy should convey her apologies to JDM.
Yeah, she even said that years ago. She gave out her house,
to some party activists
for party events.
So the beautiful thing about politics is that nothing is cast in
So she's
stone.
been influenced.
No. To join NDC.
Sika Emoja.
No. Politics, in fact, the blood of politics is human beings. And any political party welcomes anybody. Unless you fall foul of our standard of conduct in that party, then you are expelled. So if today, even His Excellency Bawumia decide that he's joining NDC, we welcome him. If Nanado decides he's joining NDC, we welcome him. So I'm not sure the party will ever sack anybody. And people come in and go out.
Be careful of the we.
Yes, perhaps.
Be careful of the we.
See council before you make any announcements.
I can tell you that the party welcomes everybody. But when you come in, you must live by our rules and conduct. If you go foul of that, then the party will deal with you. So if anyone decides that they want to join the party today, they are welcome. People have criticized and later realized that, look, people said so many things against His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and later realized that, look, these were unfounded allegations, these were smear campaigning, and some have apologized publicly, some have joined, and they are welcome. If she decides that she wants to join NDC for whatever reason, I don't think the party will sack her or anybody, but if she comes in, she must live by our rules. And our rules do not permit certain things to be done. And I think that my conclusion of all of this is, let's celebrate the strength in humility that Sammy has recognized that he has exercised an act of indiscretion, and he has apologized. He was not forced into apologizing. At least we are not aware that the president or anybody insisted on him apologizing. Or upon sober reflection, some people had called him and he has. That is a mark of strength. That is a mark of leadership. That is a mark of someone who recognizes that, look, my actions may have impact on other people, and people may interpret it in different ways. So the substance of itself, let's leave it to those that, as Felix has said, that the presidents who want to review it, fine. But if I have my way, I will plead that anybody looking at this might deal with the issue with leniency, because this is somebody who has apologized. And that is the very first step we should look at and call the act what it's supposed to be. And I don't see an obvious breach, but upon sober reflection, it shouldn't have been done. So I think that's how we should look at it. And for people who think this is an opportunity to douse all the good things that are happening in the country and to get some negative things, because, you know, our opponents have been struggling since we came to power to find news. They try, we've gone past 3 months, they haven't found any scandal to deal with, so they are struggling to find scandal, because if you compare back 2017 by this time, the number of scandals that have already come up, they can't find anything like that. So they are just looking for a straw to hang on to. This is certainly not that straw. Let me advise them, they should find something else. But if they are struggling to find anything, they should praise the good that the country is going through. The dollar that is being disgraced publicly now, when we have not announced locking it or jailing it and throwing the key into the sea, but have been able to control it, they should praise that. Trade.
One of the concerns they have is that this is toxic dollarization of our economy. If you are doling out dollars in town.
Oh, then it should reflect in the dollar rising.
And that's what they fear.
It will not happen. I rather interpret it that the dollar is losing so much value that people who have dollars are now find a way to dispose of it. That's my interpretation of it.
So there's dollar in the system.
I'm telling you, people had hoarded dollars, and now they are feeling uncomfortable. There are people who are not comfortable with this drop in the dollar, which is good for us as a nation. People are feeling pained because they are losing money. People hoarded dollars. Now people are finding ways to dispose of it, and they are trying to create the impression that this is not sustainable, and we will discuss it. But look, let's celebrate something. Let us celebrate something. And sometimes in Akan, they said, when your conditions change, it is very easy for you to forget where you have been. But when this country, when the dollar had a meteoric rise, and the impact it has on our economy, it is falling and we are complaining. When the interest rates were trying to come down, not too much down, and then the treasury bill rate were dropping. They said it was artificial. It's not sustainable. On the floor of parliament, our opponents raised it, cautioning the finance minister. It's not sustainable. According to theory, the two must be together. The gap between treasury bill rate and the inflation cannot be so much. It's not sustainable. It will crash. 3 months are gone down the line. Nothing has crashed. If anything, things are getting better.
The prices are still up.
That is an issue that we all have to contend with. And we've heard the traders themselves calling each other to drop prices. My brother, we all drive. Weekly, we are seeing the fuel prices dropping. Is that not a good thing?
Indeed it is.
It is a good thing. These are the things we should celebrate. And people want to hang on to this little straw to make noise.